Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'll be teaching us how to make this skirts. So it's a layered ruffled skirt with high slits. Okay, and I used about 4.5 yards of Ankara, or almost 5 yards thereabout. And then I also use doll face satin as the underlay. Yeah. So this is my satin fabric here on fold. Now I want to cut out the back. So you fold the fabric into two like so. Next thing is to measure out your length of skirt. So for me, the length of my skirt is 41 inches. Now the first thing is I'll remove the length of my band from this measurement. So 41 minus 2 will give me 39. The length of my band is 2 inches, okay? Then you also want to remove 3 inches from the hemline because the last layer of the ruffle will make up for the length. So I'm taking 3 inches out of the length. So that's 39 minus 3 will give me 36. Okay, so I'll add 1 inch for seam allowance on the waistline and on the hemline. So that's 37. So I'm just marking that point. So that line is going to be my waistline. Okay, and then next thing I'm going to mark my hip depth. So I'll still remove my length of band away. Then I'll mark my hip depth, which is 8 inches. So I'll just draw a line like so. Next thing on my waistline, I'm going to mark quarter of my waist measurements, which is 7.5. So I'll add 1 inch to that for side seam allowance, altogether 8.5. Okay, quarter of waist plus 1 inch for side seam allowance. Then on the hip line, okay, you might just hold on first. So what you do on the hemline is you're going to mark quarter of your hip on the hemline plus about 5 inches to give you that A-line skirt and 1 inch for side seam allowance. Now just before you link the waist to the hemline, okay, which is also an A-line skirt, you want to use your tape rule to confirm if what you have on the hip line there is up to your hip measurement. If it's not up to, it will not pass through. So if it's not up to, you mark cut out your hip, then 1 inch for side seam allowance. Okay, so now the reason for this, for some people, they can just link their waist directly to the hemline. It's fine, but it's always good to cross check if after drawing that line, you measure what is on the hip line to confirm if it's less than your hip line, you'll not be able to wear the skirts. Okay, so I'm just going to blend out like so with my curved ruler. Okay, so after blending out, what I want to do on the hemline right now is very, very optional. I want to shape the hemline of my skirt, which is normal, but because for this skirt, the ruffles will still like cover the hemline, so this is not necessary. Like you can leave the hemline of your skirt straight. You could actually leave it straight. It's not compulsory. If it's not necessary, but I'm just used to it, shaping my skirt. So this is what I've done. I just went up by 1 inch and I shaped it back to the center. So I'm just going to cut out. I'm adding half inch seam allowance to the top there, and I'll cut out. So the back is on fold since the slit is in front, right? So when I cut out, I'm going to use this to cut out the front because the front is where the zipper is, so we need the zipper allowance. Now still on my folded fabric, okay, I've marked 1 inch for zipper away from the edge of the fabric. So I'll just place the back piece like so. Then I'll use this to cut out the front. Okay. So yeah, I'll be cutting out the front. So once we cut out, I think the only thing remaining for us to cut out will be the Ankara fabric that I use in making the ruffles. So for the ruffles, like I said, I use almost 5 yards of Ankara, though you can use less than that. The only thing is the ruffles might not be as full as what it looks like, though compared to the picture we're trying to create, I think my own ruffle is even more, it's more fuller than what is in the picture. I think so. What do you think? Let me know in the comment section if you prefer the one that is less fuller or mine that is fuller. So if you want less full, you might not need to use up to 4.5 yards of Ankara like I did. Okay, so now I'm going to open up the front pattern, the one that has the zipper. Okay, I will just call it open. I need 2 pieces because we need to create our slit. So once I cut this open, we'll just go straight to the sewing. Okay, so I'm opening up my back piece, which is the one on fold. Then I'll place the 2 front pieces on it. Then I'll go ahead and sew with 1 inch side seam allowance on both sides. Then I'll also do a rolled hem. Okay, so yeah, I'm done sewing. This is how my skirt looks like. So this is like an underlay. Okay, you can use any fabric for the underlay, but make sure you use the fabric that is firm. Okay, and I've also done my roll them for the lower part of the skirts, and I'll go ahead and give it a good press. Same thing with the side seam. So for the ruffles, is a very pretty simple stuff. I used about 5 different Ankara prints. Okay, so what I did was I folded my Ankara print. I folded it. Sorry, I opened it up and I cut from selvage to selvage. Let me just show what I did. So this is what I did here. This is my fabric. So I measured 8 inches depending on the length of the ruffle you want, but I did 8 inches. Okay, so that's what I did. So let me show us one piece. So yeah, this is the ruffle here. Each of them is 8 inches wide, and the length is the length of Ankara. So I had about 21 pieces of different prints. Okay, like that. So you have to weave the edges, that is to like knitting all the edges on both sides. And then because I cut it from selvage to selvage, you might need to have some joinings like so, with just joining with 1/2 inch seam allowance basically. So I'm just showing us all the prints I used. Some of them are more than the others, so the ones that are not really plenty, I use them towards the waistline, and the ones that were more towards the hemline. So I think this is the shortest among them, so I'll use it at the beginning of my skirts. Okay, so I'll open up my skirt like this. I'll take my Ankara piece. Okay, then I'm going to like either do gathers or tiny plates. So I did tiny plates. Just make tiny plates like so, and then ruffle it around the waistline. Okay, so like I said, this particular fabric I didn't have it much, so I couldn't go more than 1 layer for this particular pattern. So this is how it looks like here, already coming out. Now for the subsequent layers, you need to measure. So I did 4 inches from that point down, then like so, 4 inches all the way down. So I had about 9 or 10 layers of the ruffles, and you have to mark it. If you don't mark it after sewing, they won't be well arranged. You have to mark it. So I already did that. Now I will proceed with the next Ankara print, which is the yellow one. Okay, meanwhile, they don't have to be all full. Like you can just make the first and the last layer to be very full. The layers in between can be less full. Like, it depends on how much fabric you're willing to like give out. So I've done the first 3 layers here. Now next very important step before you continue, you have to measure where you want your slit to stop. Yeah, before you continue. So for me, I wanted my slit to stop like 1 or 2 inches below the 3rd layer. Okay, so now I'll take 2 inches out for my band. So I wanted my slit to stop around probably 18 inches. Let me move the fabric upwards. There. So from where the slit stops, I'm going to do a roll them. There. On both sides of the skirt. You have to do a rolled hem. Like just roll it twice and then sew it. Okay? So that's where my slit started from. Let me measure it again. 2 inches out for band. This is about 18 inches thereabouts. Okay? So you have to repeat the same thing on both sides of the skirt. Means that you should notch first before you start, so that it will be on the same point. Okay, so after you've done this, to start sewing the next layer of ruffle now, you have to place the ruffle in such a way, in a particular way on the slit. So notice the edge of my ruffle. Can you see it there? So I'll fold it twice like so and place it on the slit. But you don't do a top stitch yet. Just do the normal ruffles like that. Okay? And do all the layers. So I'm done fixing all the layers of my ruffles. Can you see that? Okay? So after you arrange all the ruffles like on the lines, okay? Now you can see that the last ruffle is longer than the skirts. That was the reason for reducing the 3 inches from the measurement. Okay, so now I was talking about top stitch. From where the slit is starting from, you have to top stitch the ruffles to the slits. Can you see that? You can't leave it open like that. That's why I said I should fold it twice before sewing it on the skirt. Okay, so you are doing this on both sides of the skirt, starting from where the slit starts. I don't think that's making sense. Okay, so next step will be to cut out the band. So let me just quickly show us the other side. Can you see? I've done my top stitch starting from where I want my slit to start from. Okay, so for the band, nothing serious, nothing serious. But before I do that, let me just quickly show us how the skirt looks like a better view of how the skirt looks like. This is it here. You can see it. Very beautiful, very beautiful, right? So I have about 9 or 10 layers. I don't know, about 9 or 10. Okay, so band, very, very simple. Fold the fabric into two. Okay, the width of your band is going to be 5 inches. Do not forget to add interfacing to make it firm. So I used ST for my interfacing. So this is 5 inches. When you fold into two, you're going to have 2.5 inch. Then you'll be using ½ inch on both sides of the band to attach the skirt. So after everything, you're left with 2 inches. Then length, your waist circumference plus 2. My waist is 30 plus 2, 32. So this is on fold. That should give me 16. So after fixing my zipper, I should be left with 30. I hope that was clear. So I'll go ahead and attach my band to my skirt. One side of my band to my skirt actually. So I'm starting from inside, I'll finish outside. Okay? Yeah. So I'll just pin it and I'll go and sew. So here it is. Next step, I will attach the other side of the band to my skirt. So once you iron, it will be easy for you. You'll be having unnecessary pleats and folds here and there. Okay. So once I attach the band, next thing is to fix my zipper. But before you fix your zipper, okay, starting from where you have the slits, from this point here. So I'll just like mark 1 inch away from the edge of the skirt, and I'll sew it upwards, leave about 8 inch for my zipper. Okay, I'll just sew it upwards and stop, then fix my zipper. Okay, so this is how it looks like. So for the slit, it doesn't have to be in front actually. It can be side, can be on the back, anyhow you want to wear the skirts. Okay, but it's a very beautiful skirt. So I hope you learned something from this tutorial. I hope it was detailed. Okay, if you have any questions, you can leave in the comment section. Like I said, I use almost 5 yards of Ankara. You can use less. I use satin as an underlay. What else? I think that's all. But if you still have any questions to ask, you can leave it in the comment section. So do not forget to like, subscribe, and share once again. Thank you so much for your time. Bye bye.